holding the interview of the candidates. So that includes preparation by the interviewers, the people who are going to interview the candidates. They should be conversant with the information about the candidates. That means they should have got some brief about the candidates. They should, because the applications are scanned and scrutinized, and also brief is given by the HR department mostly to the interviewers. So these interviewers should be conversant with the information about the candidates so as to carry out an effective interview. So coming to the interview setting itself, so there is a need to make the physical settings and environment of the interview room and the surroundings in a attractive manner so that it is appealing to the both the interviewer and also the interviewee. So in the interview setting itself, 2 additional points also to be noted. Like the candidate can be observed at the time of entry, whether the candidate is presenting a shabby picture or is smart looking. So the first impression is available to the interviewer at the beginning of the interview itself. Then comes the next important stage of the actual conducting of the interview. This is the real action stage or phase of the interview. In this one, the interview starts with rapport building between the interviewer and the interviewee. Here, the interviewer is trying to establish a relationship with the candidate so that the interview goes on smoothly. So to begin with, the interviewer will ask only general questions about the candidate or how he has come to the interview and whether there was any problems he faced in coming to the interview, like that. And so that the candidate is put at ease and he gets acclimatized to the interview setting. Then the interviewer moves to the actual content of the interview. Just a minute, friends.
$19 also. Or
Yeah.
19. Yeah.
Yeah. So there is no change in that, but I just still shared it because others, maybe some new persons may be joining this week.
That's it. Thank you.
Thanks. So he will be now moving to after the introductory rapport building exercise, relationship building exercise. The interviewer now moves to the actual interview content as to the evaluation of the actual interview, the candidates' capabilities and skills and knowledge. So here the interviewer should be very careful. He should be asking the question straight. He should not be putting any roundabout questions. He should not be asking any sensitive questions that can put the candidate in an inconvenient position. The questions asked should be easy to understand, should not be difficult. The interview should enable the candidate to keep talking. When the questions are asked, the interviewee, the candidate will be answering. So while the candidate is answering, the job of the interview is to jot down major important points and his observations about the capabilities or the performance or the composure of the candidate. So he will be making important points. He will be jotting down the important points about the candidate. And he will also assess the candidate's technical and behavioral competencies through asking questions pertinent to technical and behavioral competencies. So during the course of interview, even the interviewer can tell about the company's culture, how the companies or the organizations, what the culture they are having, and how their own employees are acting like heroes, or how they are able to adjust and accommodate in the work situation with the customers, with the suppliers, or with the bosses like that, so that the candidate will get a idea of what the company is and what the company's culture is, how the people are able to adjust, all that they will be able to understand, based on which they can take a call whether to join the company or not, or the organization or not, provided they are selected. So at the end of this phase, the interview is closed by giving an indication to the candidate by the interview board or panel, members of the panel, as to when he or she can expect about the outcome of the interview. So this ends the interaction with the candidate. So immediately after the candidate goes out, the interview panel or the members sit and again try to evaluate the performance of the candidate. They will have some scrutiny and the assessment of the candidate, whether he is suitable or not. If there is any other committee or other managerial position that needs to scrutinize the result of the candidate selected, then it will go to that committee or the person. And based on that scrutiny, the candidates will be selected provisionally. That is called contingent selection. So after contingent selection, what can happen? So in some cases, like drug test and other tests can be done. These days, it may be conducted in several organizations to ensure that the candidates are fit and able to do the jobs. Then medical examination also may be conducted. This is important for several jobs, including the government and public sector. Even in some private sector also this is being done, because medically whether the candidates are fit or not, they will be able to judge it. And apart from this, in several government and the public sector organizations, police verification of the candidates is also done to find out about the antecedents of the candidate, whether they are having any criminal background or whether any cases are pending. Like that, they would get screening done through police authorities also. After all this is done, the candidate will be placed in some particular post or job or position. This normally is done for new recruits also, and even for those candidates who are coming on promotion or transfer. In those cases also, the placement may be happening. This kind of placement should not be confused with placement of candidates in the colleges or universities or B schools like that. That placement is different, which is a activity taken up by the institution or the college or university concerned, that has nothing to do with this part of it. So in fact, if any placement is happening, the interview committee may be going to that place, that university or the school or the institution. There they may be carrying out all these activities there itself. The placement that universities refer is the placement from their end, that the candidates, students are placed in several companies or organizations. That is that kind of placement. Whereas this placement is finding a suitable assignment or place for the candidate within the organization. So what are the final checks to be done before hiring? Like drug testing. So this is generally considered as controversial. It is perceived as unfair or invasive into the privacy of the candidates. But Supreme Court ruled that this is not an invasion of rights. I think this Supreme Court reference is not to Indian context. I think this should be for the US. Then these tests are very expensive but accurate. It is in the interest of the organization that they get this test done. But alcohol consumption is not generally tested for. So what are the barriers to effective selection? So one is perception, the interviewer's inability to understand the candidates accurately. This is the most fundamental barrier in selecting the right candidate. They may be having certain kinds of biases and perceptions about the candidates, so they can make errors in candidate selection. Then fairness, whether the interviewer is fair in assessing the qualities of the candidate, or there is any discrimination on the grounds of religion, region, or race, or gender. This also is one point, and this can be a barrier in selection of good candidates. Then the tests that are being conducted, in case there are some written tests or personality tests that are conducted, whether they are valid and reliable, that is another point. If the test or the assessment carried out, whether if it is not been validated, whether the purpose for which it is being conducted, whether that kind of results are coming or not. So that is a very important factor. If it is not a valid test, it can give incorrect, based on that, the selections will be incorrect or inappropriate. Similar is the case with reliability. If the tests are not giving consistent score, reliable score, that is the score having a similar number or closer to that number in each and every time the test is repeated in similar situations, then that can be a problem. There should be consistency and reliability of the test conducted. Then outside pressure or environmental pressure by the politicians, bureaucrats, relatives, friends, anybody who are trying to interfere and recommend certain candidates, that also will be a barrier in selecting the right candidate, fit candidate for the jobs. So this is about selection and placement practice, that is unit number 19. Now we'll go to unit number 20. Okay, you are able to see now?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So we have completed the selection and the placement of the candidates into the organization. We know that successful candidates are placed in the organization or the company or the business or non-profit, whatever be the organization, so that they perform the duties effectively. Sometimes they may be given initial training before joining, or they may not be given. It all depends on the various circumstances of the organization. That is why training may be given at the time of joining or may not be given. So workers must be trained to operate the machines, and they should be able to reduce the wastage and scrap, and they should be able to avoid the accidents while actually working on machines, etc. So it is not only the workers who are needing training, even at the supervisory level, that is supervisors, executives, and managers, they also need to be developed in order to enable them to grow and acquire maturity of thought and action, be fit for higher level positions. That is, they should be given some administrative and managerial training. So that is also, that is called a little differently. It is called development, but they also need some kind of training that way. So what is training? Employee training is a process where people learn several skills: knowledge, attitude, and behavior. Training is a learning experience which seeks a relatively permanent change in the behavior of the individual so as to improve the ability of the candidate to perform the job well. Training is defined as any attempt to improve the employee performance on the currently held job, or he can be prepared for a future higher assignment also. So this is what I was referring to, this development. What is development? Development refers to the learning opportunities designed for designed to help the employees grow. This is mostly for the supervisors, executives, and the managers, and who are engaged in the administrative and managerial activities. Such opportunities need not be limited to improving the employee performance on their current jobs. The focus on development is on the long term, so that these executives and managers are prepared for future work demands or future assignments. So this development term is a very broad term. It covers several activities and programs that are aimed at influencing the changing or adjusting the capacity of the individual. That is to perform in the future, as well as in the current assignment also, and for the future assignments also. So that is why these training and development activities, they are having a different set of scope, validity, applicability, purpose, and also the types of employees. As I said, training is for lower level employees or who are doing mechanical jobs, routine jobs, whereas development is for executives and managers. And also the methods and skills, knowledge that are imparted during the training also will be different for training and development. So what is training and development? How do we distinguish? We can understand that training is a short-term process, whereas development is for a long-term. It is a long-term process. It's an ongoing process. Then training is given mostly to the technical people who are involved in automatic or mechanical jobs. And development is mostly for the administrative and managerial staff. Training is to improve the current skill level, current job skill level, whereas development is for helping the employees to grow for future requirements. For both the personal growth and development of the employees, and also for the organizational growth. It is a two-way process. Then people, through training, they acquire technical knowledge and skills, whereas executives and managers acquire conceptual and theoretical knowledge in the process of development. Then training is only job-centered, whereas development is career-oriented. That is why we see that all the executives and managers are given a career planning, and career orientation also is given from time to time in the organizations. So the importance of training, why training and development are important. It is increasing the productivity of the employee and overall productivity of the organization. It increases the efficiency and also the effectiveness of the organization as well as the employees. It is helping in improvement of the quality of products and services that the organization provides. It also helps in meeting the future personnel needs of the organization. It enhances the organizational climate. Then it improves the health and safety of the individuals by training in the methods and techniques. So the employees are helped to take care of their health and safety. Then preventing obsolescence, because technology is ever changing. There is obsolescence in the organizational technology. So the employees should keep up with the new technology that is coming. So that is why also training is required to prevent obsolescence. They should not become outdated or irrelevant in the new technological situation. Then for promoting the personal growth and development of the employees and managerial staff. So apart from this, some more are also there. It is intended to improve the morale of the employees, It is also useful for better industrial relations. And when training is given, it will reduce the task of the supervisor. So the employee will be able to do on his own. Then it also improves the organizational viability and flexibility. Then when training is given, optimal utilization of resources takes place, efficient utilization of the resources is ensured. Then when employees are trained, they have better motivation to stay on and do, and there is less turnover in the employees. Then when employees are enabled with the training and development programs, they are having better job satisfaction. And also for implementation of change, training and development program is a must. That is the most important activity in bringing organizational change and development. Then what are the basic training, types of training? Types of training given in the various organizations. They are classified into basically 4 types. One is basic literacy skills, other one is technical skills, then interpersonal skills, then problem solving skills. So what is basic literacy skills like? So it is seen that even high school graduates in the US, some of them don't have the basic skills that are necessary for doing the work at the workplace. So they are given some basic reading and math skills, then their performance is improving. So before the training, they were not able to even score at the level of 8th grade. So with the one round of training itself, their performance has improved by about 70%. So these basic literacy skills include some reading skills and math skills. These are essential for understanding the information in the organizations, like various reports are available, graphs, bulletin boards. Then they are also able to deal with numbers well. They are able to use the fractions, decimals, understand the reports and information better. This will also increase their confidence levels. So as regards the technical skills, focus of the training is only on technological change. So this is a technological age. Everything is changing. So the employees should be well acquainted with the changes that are coming in the environment. So for example, you take the automotive sector. So there are so many things that are changing, like these days personless driving is coming, and there are navigational aids available. So many new features are getting added, like GPS, keyless entry. So many innovations are coming. So the employees are these people who are involved in the repair and maintenance of these cars and automobiles. They should be given technical training from time to time. Then comes the interpersonal skills. This is a very important skill, especially for all managerial staff and supervisors. The skills are basically centering around listening and communication and teamwork. They should be imparted. The skills of active learning and effective communication, and how to interact and work in the teams. Then the most important skills is to be trained for the managerial staff is problem solving skills. They are given the training for sharpening the logic and reasoning, so that they are able to take effective decisions after careful scrutiny of the proposals. So in that one, they are given the trainings for building the logic, reasoning, problem defining skills, how to identify the cause and effect, then how to develop alternatives, how to analyze alternatives, and how to select the best alternative. So these are all the problem solving skills that can be given training. So one important question that comes is whether training should be given in ethics also in the organizations or not. So there are both for and against arguments regarding ethics training. Some people feel that ethics and personal value systems are fixed at a very early age and they cannot be changed, and there is no point in giving any training in ethics. But argument for says that values can be learned and changed at any point of time. It is not fixed at birth or whatever. So they can be changed and learned and changed. So this kind of ethics training helps employees recognize the ethical dilemmas and issues. They are able to deal with them better way. Then training reaffirms that the organization's expectation about the members that they will be acting ethically. So how does the process of training and development look like? So first thing is determining the needs and priorities of the organization. So organizational analysis is done. So how many departments are there? How many people are there? When was the last training done? All these kinds of analysis will be done. Then analysis will be done about the job also, nature of the job description. And then also personal needs analysis. How many kinds of trainings are needed based on the personal needs of the employees, whether they need technical skills, whether they need interpersonal skills, or whether they need other needs. So that kind of analysis is done. Then based on the analysis done, the objectives and goals of trainings are determined. So what they will define the nature of skills to be taught and the number of employees and also the training period, the number of trainees in each batch, and how much period the training should be. All these will be decided. So next comes the selection of trainees. Trainees will be the persons to be sent for training will be chosen based on the legal requirements, our employee needs and motivation, then changing skills in technological skills, then multi-skilling potential. Whoever needs multi-skilling potential, that also is considered. Based on that, the trainees are determined who are to be sent for the training. Then the curriculum and methods are designed, what is the content of the training, and they will have an overall training plan and also decide about the method to be followed, whether it should be on-the-job training or off-the-job training, whether it should be long-term training or short-term training, or there should be multiple rounds of training for completing a particular training activity. Like that, it will also be decided. Then they will have a training budget, how much amount will be allocated for the carrying out the training activity, like staff planning, then trainees' wages, then trainers' salaries, training material. All this will go into the budgeting activity. Then selecting and training the trainers. So how to get the trainers? Some organizations, they will have their own internal training resources. Some organizations may be dependent on external training institutes or organizations. So it depends on the organization to organization or company to company. Based on that, they will decide the selection of the trainers. If it is internal trainers, nothing much needs to be done. They are already available. But if it is external people, they can be also brought in, and that they also can be trained. So, for example, when we were working in BSNL, we were in the field actually in working. So it was not possible for us to go to the training center to have a formal training. So they used to come to our own workplaces, and they will be having certain prior briefing about the training that is required by the people who are working. So these trainers, they will acquaint themselves with what kind of training the candidates require, the employees require, and they themselves will prepare the material and come and actually train. So this kind of training the trainers also may be taking place. And in fact, the trainers need to be continuously be trained. It is an ongoing process, and because they should always be ready to train. So unless they are ready, they cannot train others. So this becomes a very important activity. Then what kind of training techniques to be deployed? This also will be decided. So like how to teach the new skills and knowledge, whether they should be given training through electronic mode or through classroom training, like that, all those techniques will be decided. Then after the training is over or while the training is going on, so how the trainees are actually learning, so they will progress will be assessed at several intervals. Then evaluating the training program. So after the training program is conducted at several times, the assessment is done, like whether the training has been useful in meeting the objectives that were meant for training. So employees are asked to give evaluation of the training program at several intervals. It can be done once it is done immediately after the completion of the training. Then another it can be conducted after a month, and another it can be conducted after another 3 months. Like this, the training evaluation program will be going on for some time. And these are some of the traditional training methods, like on the job method. The employees are asked to perform the task by sitting in that post or position on the job itself. Then job rotation. The employees are shifted from one job or one post to the other without any training. Then mentoring and coaching, they are attached to some senior persons who are already experienced in the job. So they will be attached as apprentices or trainees. So this is another kind of training method, mentoring and coaching. Then sometimes experiential exercises also may be given, like role playing, simulations, case analysis, then face-to-face type of training. This also can be given. Then employees are also provided several books and manuals for training. These also are used for training, but this may not be a very effective method. Then classroom lectures. This is of all the methods, this is the most important and popular method, where employees attend the lectures given in the classroom. Then training and their learning styles. How the employees learn. How the employees learn, it all depends on their particular learning styles. Some people, everybody do not learn in the same way. Some people can easily process, understand, remember the information very easily, even the new and difficult information, but some others may not be able to do that. And also, some people are able to learn by simply reading the books or reading material. They are very good at reading and understanding. Some people are very good at watching the electronic video or examples, or these days YouTube videos. Then also watching others to in actually doing the work. So they are better at learning through watching others or watching video information. Then some others learn simply by listening to others. They may be listening to audio tape or lectures. So they learn through listening mode. They understand and comprehend and remember better through listening. Some others may be learning only through actual participation method. So they want to try out the skills themselves in a safe environment like labs or training sessions or computerized classroom or environment. Like that, they will actually do it by themselves and learn. So these, based on the individual learning style, the appropriate style should be adopted. But where it is only some kind of classroom training is given, not everybody will be able to grasp. So there should be multiple modes of learning. All these, one particular style itself may not be sufficient. So these styles are mutually exclusive. Employees can learn through multiple styles. Then methods of training. Most popular methods are on-the-job training and off-the-job training. The choice of technique is often influenced by the type of learning that is required. Cognitive, skill-based or affective training, and also the cost and time considerations. These are the most important factors in deciding about the method of training. So on-the-job training involves where the employees learn, they are sitting in a particular position and learn under the direct supervision of their concerned supervisor or the manager in the actual environment. This is a very popular method. For example, when I joined initially, we were not given any training. They said, okay, you sit here and do the work. That's all. So they gave a very funny dictum. They said, turn the page, learn the work. So they said, by being on the job, you see what has been done previously and learn from that, or see others and learn and do it. So this is on the job training that involves observing experienced employees and working with actual real materials or personnel or machinery that is relevant to the jobs. And types of on the job training includes job rotation. This is a very popular method. Like persons are, instead of sending to the training, they are directly put in the other position, from one position to the other position or one post to the other post. They are transferred so that they learn on the job itself, there itself. So this job rotation is being done by the organizations at frequent intervals. Some organizations may be having 6 months, some organizations may be having 1 year, some may be having even 3 years. So, for example, we at the senior level in public sector, we had a job rotation every 3 years, 3 to 5 years. So after every 3 years also, some job rotation may be there. The job is changed, the post is changed, sometimes even the place is changed, like that also can happen. Then apprenticeship. This includes combining hands-on work along with classroom training. This is typically used in skilled trades like plumbing or electrical work. This is not useful for managerial staff. This is especially for those people who are doing mechanical or electrical works, including plumbing works. Then coaching and mentoring. Experienced employees or a personnel, they provide training and guidance and support to less experienced people, candidates, offering advice, feedback, and hands-on training. Then internship. Internship is for temporary period. Like we see so many students who go and do internship in reputed organizations, government, where they go for a certain period, like 3 months or 6 months, like that, and they get practical exposure in the specific field. This is basically aimed for students, internships. Then shadowing. Trainee observes experienced employee to understand the intricacies of the job before they actually take on these jobs. Simply, they will be there by the side of the employee who is performing, and they observe and they learn. Then the trainer provides role modeling, instruction, guidance, and with immediate feedback on the performance. What are the advantages of this on-the-job training? Then realistic experience. The person is having a practical exposure and experience, and whatever he is doing, learning, it is having immediate application. It is very cost effective. The employee is working as well as getting to learn, getting to know. So there are no additional costs involved. Then productivity. So the employee is learning and also actually working. So it is highly productive. Then it gives mentorship opportunities to the existing staff, not only to the existing one, the person who is learning also, he can provide mentorship in future. What are the disadvantages? Disadvantages is disruption of work of those people who are engaged in mentoring, training, apprenticeship. They have to constantly do hand holding for the candidates, the trainees, apprentices like that. Then quality of the work may be different. The people who are trained through proper channels for a certain period, their quality may be different, and the quality of the people who are working on the jobs may be different. Then it also causes stress because the person is also learning, he is facing a stressful situation. He doesn't know anything about the job or the skills that are required, or the techniques that are required. So he has got to learn and use them. So it is quite stressful for the candidate. Then it is having limited scope. It is not applicable for every kind of job. So coaching and mentoring, sorry. So other kind of training is off-the-job training. This is a very popular training method. So this takes place outside the work setting, often in a classroom or a training center. So these several organizations, they are having their own internal training centers. For example, our own government also having several training centers for managerial positions, like several offices. The government is having several training centers, training academies, multiple centers that are there. Even in organizations, commercial organizations, public sector companies, they are also having lot many training centers. And even private sector, especially IT industry, they are also having training centers. For example, we can see that Infosys is having a very big training center. They have about 200-acre campus for their own employees that is based in Mysore. That is called Leadership Institute, Infosys Leadership Institute. So it is a very big facility that is catering to the needs of training needs of the Infosys employees. So this kind of training center. Even BSNL, we had several training centers at the local level, then regional level, and at the national level. Multiple training centers, both for training technical, giving technical training, and also managerial and other trainings also. And even the government sector, even the teaching profession, they are also having several zonal and regional institutes of training, education and training. So like that, off-the-job training is a very popular method. So it is a practical, cost-effective method, and it is immediately applicable. But again, it can be stressful and inconsistent because of the person has to go out to a different place and learn. And then off-the-job training offers a focused, consistent, and broad learning experience. Of course, that is very costly and can be less realistic because it is in a training setting, not in the actual field. So it is less realistic. And also it can reduce the productivity in the short run because it is affecting the work. Then what are the types of off-the-job training? One is classroom training, which we are all familiar with. Training sessions are conducted in the classroom setting using lectures, presentations, and discussions, case studies, and all this. Then sometimes short period training also can be conducted through seminars and workshops. That is focusing on specific topics or skills. This will be very limited, maybe for 2 days, 3 days. Specific topics will be selected and they will be conducting seminars and workshops, and some practical exposure, practical hands-on sessions also will be there. Then e-learning and online training. This is also very important and these days very popular. computer-based training, e-training, internet-based training. This is very popular these days because of several advantages of the job training or online training. So these digital courses are enabling employees to complete the training at their own pace, often including videos, quizzes, and interactive content. In fact, even in our own BSNL, we had several e-learning modules. So the employee, if he has to get his promotion, say after say 3 years or 4 years, before he becomes eligible for that, he has to undergo some online training in self-learning mode. So they used to have this online training where they will have to learn and take the quizzes and interactive sessions they will have to attend. This is also a very popular method. Then simulation, the use of virtual or physical models to replicate the real work situations. At some places, they may be having the actual equipment so that real simulation can also happen and they can given training through simulation. Then role playing. So role participants here act out the scenarios to practice several interpersonal skills like communication, teamwork, then listening skills, then problem solving, decision making in a very controlled setting in the classroom environment. Then sometimes conferences, very short period conferences, maybe for a half day or 1 day or 2 day, can be conducted, which are large events where several industry professionals come to share their knowledge and information, and networking also can be done. Then several workshops are also conducted. They are also interactive training sessions, giving hands-on experience to the candidates. That they also have some group exercises where several members are grouped together and given tasks where they will have group discussions and they will have to present the cases, their analysis of the cases like this. Then it will also give them the exposure about the practical application of the concepts in these workshops. So the advantages of and disadvantages of offline training on the job, offline training, that is classroom-based training. The advantages are, it's a very focused environment because all the people are coming to one place, the training center or the training classroom. There is no disturbance. They are all focused on learning new skills and new capabilities. Then standardized. The training content is standardized and all the people are given uniform training that is expected to give better results. Then the scope is broader here, like because it is given for a longer period. So the scope is the content of the training is wider here. Then it also works as a networking tool or networking site for meeting others and also keeping networking. Then, yes, sir. Then disadvantages are, it is involving a lot of cost. The organizations will have to spend a lot of money on the training institutes, training centers. They have to send the people at the cost of dislocation of the work. So that is having a lot of cost. Then lack of realism, because this is all in a simulated environment, in a classroom setting, it is far away not drawn away from the work situation, not having practical experience. Then delayed application. So whatever they learn in the training may not be useful immediately. It may be used only in the next posting or next assignment. So there may be delayed application of the training that has been given. So the time away from work, the people are sent to 1 week training or 15 days training, 1 month training. It is hampering the work in the regular organization is suffering. Then who are the people who can provide actual training? Potential training providers, the supervisors and managers. These people provide the on-job training. So mentoring and assessing the career needs. They provide the on-the-job training. Then co-workers also can be peer trainers and coaches. These are especially effective in industries like hospitality, like hotels or other service industries like that. Then subject matter experts can be training providers. Then self-paced instructions, when they are using computer-based training, e-training, online training, the employees can learn at their own pace. So these days, even the students are following these uh, uh, e-learning components they are using. Especially this Government of India online educational platform. This SWAYAM is also very useful. Students are learning, working employees are learning, supervisors are learning. There are so many people who are learning a wide host of news, skills, and information. Then how to evaluate the usefulness of the training. So many factors determine the training effectiveness, the training method used, whether it is online training or offline training, is through mentoring or it's through workshop. So it depends on the nature of training method used and what is the level of the individual's motivation, whether the employee was motivated enough to learn, motivated enough to use. It all depends on these factors. Then the trainee's personality itself also is a key factor in determining the effectiveness of the training, whether the candidates are having internal locus of control, whether they are highly conscientiousness oriented, whether they are having good cognitive and intellectual ability, whether they are having high self-efficacy and learn the best. It all depends on their personality and their attitudes also. Then the training climate also, the ability to apply the learning to the job. Sometimes the training may not be useful to apply in the current job. So the person doesn't have any utility of the training given. So that will not be helping. That is not effective training. So career development. So this is very closely linked to the executive development. Career development, it focuses on the long-term effectiveness and success within the organization, where the executives are given a career path and career planning. This is helpful for them. So this aligns the individual's aspirations with the organizational needs. It also fosters talent retention, diversity, and organizational will. When the employees, the supervisors, managers, executives, they are given a assured career progression program or assured career growth. So they will be very happy and it meets their aspirations, even while meeting the organizational needs. Then executive or management development, it encompasses all activities aimed at improving executives' behavior and performance. This is helpful in preparing the managers for future leadership positions of greater complexity and responsibility. This is with a eye on the future, how to develop the future leaders. This is taking action in advance for replacing the leaders. Then what are the key aspects in this executive development? The educational process, the behavioral changes that are to be taught, then the self-development and continuous process of executive development. This is about the training and development. So we'll go to the next important unit of performance evaluation. Just a minute. Okay. You are able to see the presentation?
Presentation has not yet come. Yeah.
It come. Okay, okay.
Okay. Now it is okay.
Yeah,
Yes,
thank
sir,
you.
we were able to see.
So, what is performance evaluation and feedback? So, we know that the organizations are always trying to attract and retain and motivate people into their organizations, be it a government or be it public sector or private sector, any sector, you name it, they are always trying to attract, retain, and motivate people to join their fold and be with them. So, as during that process, they are using several methods to distribute the rewards, and the nature of distribution is different in different organizations. Even within the organizations, there may be different types of distribution among different levels, and also certain types of rewards also different. So some types of rewards may be given only for the other types of rewards may be given only for non-executives like this. So types of rewards also are different. So what is performance? Performance is generally a function of the ability, the motivation, the resources provided to the employee, the target given for him to do that job. So all these factors plays an important role in seeing the performance of the individual. So what is the purpose of the evaluation? It can be twofold. One is judgmental, the other is developmental. Judgmental means the focus is on the past performance of the employees. This basically helps the managers to evaluate the training programs already the employee has undergone. And also it helps in deciding how to distribute the rewards, how to distribute among the employees. It also provides a basis for resource allocation within the organization. Suppose the resources are scarce or for the time being, they are limited in availability. So how the resources are to be allocated, this will help the management. Then this performance evaluation also helps in identifying the high potential employees or executives or managers. It also validates the effectiveness of the selection procedures. Like when an employee is evaluated against the job or work he has done, so it also helps whether there was any error in selection procedure, whether we are selecting the right man for the right job or not. All this also is helpful. Then if we are seeing from the developmental purpose, what kind of improvement we require in the organization, how to improve the future performance. So this can be done by explaining the expectations of the management and then also identifying the training needs of the employees. This definitely stimulates the performance improvement of the employees. Then it develops the ways of overcoming obstacles. Like we have seen the training for the development training. So that will help the managers to learn new skills of logical reasoning and problem solving, decision making. So that all will help in overcoming the obstacles. So these are all the, in general, usefulness of the performance evaluation. So in every organization, there is a need to understand the abilities of the employees to perform and grow. This performance evaluation.
Excuse me, sir. Sir, please send notes in chat box, sir.
Yeah, done already. You are not able to see?
Sir, please send notes in chat box, sir.
You have joined late, maybe.
It is there already.
Ah, late joining, sir.
It's already been shared in the chat box. Please check.
Okay. So
No, no, madam. No chat box.
one minute.
19, 20, 21, all are shared.
Those people who join late cannot see what is in the chat box.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yes,
That's why.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Who
Sir,
have
like that only.
it?
Who joined late, they cannot see the earlier messages.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Please wait.
I see once again. So that is a good incentive to join on time.
Yeah. That's why we also waited for a few minutes to
Yeah.
sign so that people.
Because we are on performance evaluation and motivation.
Yeah. The students also need training.
Who does not need?
Very true. Very true. Okay, I have shared it again. Kindly see.
Now, madam, will check here.
Thank you, sir.
Good.
Okay. So performance evaluation is basically used to systematically evaluate the work performed by the employees. It is helping the employees to organization to ensure that the employees' capabilities, skills are used effectively. It also lets the employees know what is expected of them by the management before they are told by the management about how well they are doing. This comes as a feedback as how well they did. Most of the time, most of the organizations, what happens is that the employees come in for a very big surprise. They are never told about what is expected of them or what is expected from the job. And all of a sudden, they are told that you are not been up to the mark or you did not give the expected result or expected output. So they will come in for a shock. So, but if performance evaluation is done regularly, so that will help them know what is expected of them and they will also be able to adjust their behavior accordingly. So this performance evaluation, it plays a very key role in motivation. It affects the behavior of the employees in the organization. It must be used with caution, however. Some cultures, like individualist cultures like US and others, they are very much open to evaluation and discussion across the table. But some collectivist cultures like Japan and the eastern part of the world, they don't believe in that kind of individual evaluation. So we have to take it with a pinch of salt, with caution about while doing the evaluation. So it can be flawed. It has been seen that it is a flawed and it is a poor fit with the Japanese business culture. Does anybody remember our motivation theory? Like XYZ. We read those theories, which is the popular one in Japan. Which theory?
Z.
Z theory. Yes. Do you remember anything about the performance evaluation under management style of Z? When is the first performance carried out? First performance evaluation is carried out, sir.
6 months. After 6 months, sir.
After 10 years. After 10 years, the first performance is conducted after 10 years. After that also may not be done regularly. So that is the kind of culture they follow in Japan. So that is why style Z, they have a very different style. They feel that employees are motivated. They are there with the company for long term. They have trust and belief in the management, and management also puts in equal amount of trust and belief in the employees. Like that, they have a very different business culture in Japan. That's why it has to be used very carefully, and they are following like that only. They don't do it frequently. They do it, even the first performance evaluation itself is done after 10 years of the employee. Then what is performance appraisal system? It is a process in which defined standard of factors like work knowledge, work performance, work attitude, the leadership quality, how the team player behavior, consistency, decision making, abilities and skills. All these are factors that are fit into the process called performance appraisal system. Once this system is created, and then the actual performance as well as the personality of the employee is compared with this expected standard by the organization in the process of doing the actual evaluation, performance appraisal, when it is being carried out. So this is a multi-purpose tool. It is required to measure the actual performance of the employee vis-a-vis the expected performance, and also useful for giving feedback to the employees. It provides an opportunity to the employee and supervisor to exchange ideas, feelings about the work performance, and how to bring about changes and improvement in the work of the employee. Then it helps in identifying the employee training and development needs, and also plan for their future career growth. It's helpful for identifying the skills and abilities, what present level of skills and abilities of the employees are assessed and useful, and they are used for placing the candidate in an appropriate position or post, so that his talents and skills are utilized better. Also, same is the case for promotion, transfer, and reduction of workplace. This identification of skills and abilities, they are useful for promotions, transfer, and reduction of workforce also. Then it also helps in supporting the alignment of organizations and employees' goals. It provides the basis for determining the compensation or reward allocation. This will be helpful in performance. This is one of the important factor for using the performance evaluation. Many organizations, they are using performance evaluation for giving rewards and promotions to the candidates. Based on that only, they will decide. Even they have to remove somebody also, they will decide after performance evaluation. Then this also, performance evaluation is also helpful in protecting the organization against the lawsuits or legal cases that may be coming up for wrongful termination. If there is a sufficient evidence with the organization that the employee has not been performing well, and that is the sole reason for removal of the employee, then that will be helpful. So even in government, they are having rules for determining the employee capability. So particularly after the age of 54, 55, they carry out year after year whether the employee is still fit for work or not. Like that, they will identify. So if they want to remove based on the performance appraisal, they may be removing if they are not found suitable. Then researchers in the field of performance evaluation, they want to consider basically 3 types of behavior at the workplace. First thing is task performance. Second thing is citizenship, that is organizational citizenship. Third one is counterproductivity. What is this task performance? Whether the employee is performing duties and responsibilities and he is able to turn out the required product or service, or carry out the administrative or managerial tasks. So this is a very umbrella kind of activity. So everybody's task, everybody's performance can be evaluated. So this is one of the major types of evaluation that is required, that is researchers are having their mind on. Then another one is organizational citizenship. So this involves actions that contribute to the psychological environment of the organization, like whether the employees are helping the organization, For example, here you can see there is one very good example. In some organization, they are suddenly the power was cut. The electricity has gone. So when they have found out, they found that the electricity bill was not paid in due time, and after due date and giving some notice, they have disconnected the power supply. So everybody is running from pillar to post, trying to understand how did this happen, why the bill was not paid, and why nobody has brought it to the notice. But one employee simply goes and pays the electricity bill and gets the electricity restored. So you see, the employee has taken ownership of the organization itself. He was not bothered whether why a bill has come or not, whether the intimation has come or not. Nothing he was worried about. He was only interested in restoring the electricity service for the organizational benefit. So whether such kind of acts are being rendered by the organization, such kind of people are also, the performance evaluation should include that kind of evaluation also, whether it is helping the organization and others. So sometimes co-workers may be needing help. So even though it is not mandated or required as per the rules, some people may be helping their co-workers. Then whether what they are doing, whether it is supporting the organizational objectives or not. Then treating co-workers with respect, like making concrete suggestions and saying positive things about the workplace instead of always complaining, whether they are telling the positive things that are there in the workplace. That all is behavior of organizational citizenship. Whether the employees are displaying this kind of organizational citizenship or not, this also is one of the measures that researchers are interested. Then counterproductivity, whether employees are engaged in any counterproductive activities that are directly opposite to the organization's goals and objectives, like whether they are engaged in any stealing of the products or goods or equipment, then damaging the property, behaving aggressively, or taking avoidable absences. Like in several places, even in government, we are seeing that so much equipment and materials, they are all stolen. They are stolen. Those days, maybe it was very easy for them because there was no electronic surveillance. There were no these surveillance cameras and other things. It was possible for them to steal, but that used to happen. So all these are counterproductive. They are affecting the efficiency and effectiveness of the organization. So researchers are basically interested in these three kinds of behavior evaluation. But it doesn't, they do not do all the time, but they are interested. This is what we should know and understand when we are trying to evaluate the behavior of the employees at workplace. So evaluation, it affects the performance. The performance purposes, main purposes are like it provides the decision-making source for better utilization of the human resources. It can be useful. It is very useful in understanding and placing on promotions of the people, on incoming transfers of the people, or even for terminating certain people if they are not giving the required output and they are not efficient, they are not effective, then also it can be used. Then, as we already said, it is useful for identifying the training and development needs, skills, and abilities, capabilities that are needed. Then it provides also performance feedback to the employees. It supplies the basis for reward allocation decision. If somebody is giving very good performance, he may be needing a pay increase or other rewards, which can be of several other natures. He can be given some stock options, or he can be given a expensive holiday in a foreign location. Like this, it also can be useful. But if we see it from the point of view of our organizational behavioral specialists, that is ourselves, so the main purposes are only two. Which one? Last two. That is a mechanism for giving feedback to the employees, because that has to improve the performance if the employee is not already performing well, or it has to continue to motivate him to give the same level of performance. And also it is useful for reward allocation. This, I think I forgot to remove the slide. We already discussed. So who should evaluate? So one obvious answer to this question of evaluating performance by any person is, so the immediate supervisor should be evaluating. So, sorry, what should be evaluated? So this is a very important factor, a very important criteria for evaluation of the performance of the employee. If there are no set standards or no set criteria for evaluation of the performance, or the criteria selected is not a very useful one, then the organizational effectiveness will not be there. For example, let us see a place where there is interviewer and interviewee. So there are organizations who are looking for candidates to be recruited, and there are candidates who are willing to join and get absorbed or become the employees of company. And there is some interview board which is conducting, say, a set of interviewers are there. So for example, if the criteria for evaluating the performance of the interviewer, that is the person who is interviewing the candidates, if the evaluation criteria is, for example, the number of interviews conducted, so that can be a very defective criteria. Like if it is only the number of interviews conducted, so the person will be conducting, the interviewer will be conducting number of interviews. He is not worried about whether the employees are getting, the companies or organizations are getting the required people or not, whether these candidates are getting suitable jobs or getting the employment or not. He is not worried. He is only interested in maximizing the number of interviews. So is that helpful for the organization? It is not. So this kind of criteria, if it is there, it can be disastrous for the company. It will not be helpful. But the employee will be meeting the requirement, but there will be no effectiveness. So the criteria set to evaluate the performance should be very clear, and that should be useful for the organization. So what should be evaluated? Whichever of the individual outcomes that are emerging directly from the job or the post the person is holding. So for example, if it is a salesperson, so the number of products sold, the revenue in rupee terms, like this, there can be several outcomes which can be evaluated. So if it is a behavior related outcome, so how that is to be done, whether the job has been done well or not, whether the employee has been able to, whether the manager has been able to give the reports in time or not, whether he is leading the team and managing the team very well or not, and how is his organization citizenship behavior, whether he is involved in any counterproductive activities. Like this, the performance can be evaluated. And there is another method to evaluate, like traits. So when you are looking for traits, so is the trait evaluation, is it a good method? Like several traits are being generally evaluated in the companies. For example, they say that he is having a very good attitude. The employee is showing confidence. He is highly dependable. He is always looking busy. He has wealth of experience. Whether all these traits, whether they are directly related to productivity, they are not. So that is why traits, even if the person is having very good traits and high quality traits, but still it may not result in the required effectiveness or output of the organization. So that is not useful.
Sir, one question.
Yeah.
In behavior, you have quoted citizenship also.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that bit, sir? Like what is actually meant in a behavioral terms as a citizenship?
See, for example, in organizational, I told you, no, this, you have missed this, like organizational citizenship. I told you, no, like whether he is helping others.
Okay.
even when it is not mandated, whether he's saying positive things about the organization, whether he's treating other workers with respect. All these are behaviors of organizational citizenship. Is it okay?
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So then who should be evaluating? This is one big question that comes. So immediate supervisor is the best choice for anybody, because he is the person who is responsible for the output of the subordinate or the worker. So he is the ideal choice. So somebody can say that customers also are useful, whether he is internal customers or external customers who are getting the services or products from the employee. So whether they should be evaluating, whether subordinates should be evaluated. So even the subordinates may be evaluating sometimes their managers and supervisors, but there can several problems with that, like they are afraid of evaluating their bosses in an open manner. So it should be feedback should be taken in an anonymous manner, like peers. That means at the same level. So that also can have problems. Somebody may be very favorable to one colleague. They can be very antagonistic to another colleague. So their reviews also can be biased. They also do not reflect the actual position. That is, they are not objective methods of evaluation. So when a person is evaluated, not just through any of them, but all these and much more, like suppliers and like higher management, then that becomes the 360-degree feedback. So whether it should be done by all these people or they should be having a 360-degree feedback, that is the question. So I think we'll stop here, friends, because it's time.
Yeah.
3 o'clock. We'll just continue, maybe just a few slides, and then probably we'll continue and complete even the 3 next units, because they are all interlinked and very easy to understand in a sequential manner. Organizational change, development, and effectiveness. We'll continue in the next session. So if there is any doubt, you can ask here, or we'll stop.
This performance evaluation,
Yes, sir.
to my mind, it is a double-edged tool in corporates.
Yes, sir.
And the reporting officer as well as the reviewing officer I'm using the word, should have a humanistic approach.
Yeah.
Because particularly in government and public sector, why everywhere?
Yeah.
It is not uncommon to hear, sir, he has spoiled my CR.
Correct.
Here is that confidential report or appraisal report, whatever you have.
Yes.
And they are using more for punishing the people than for developing and giving feedback. So, because many of the participants are working people, so this is one important aspect which should be borne in mind. It should be helping in developing and measuring the performance of the person for which he is recruited.
Correct.
That's just I wanted to share.
Yeah. We'll come to those points also. They are there in the further slide.
Evaluation is
Evaluation
there.
process and how it should be objective and all that. We'll discuss in the next session. Thanks for your input, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you.
22, 23, and 24 will be discussed tomorrow, sir.
Yeah, it will be discussed tomorrow.
Okay. Fine, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, sir. Namaste.